In 2023, a programmer sitting at a desk with two glowing monitors might type a cryptic error message into a search bar and open a familiar orange and white page called Stack Overflow. On that screen are thousands of answers written by other programmers who ran into the same problem years earlier. One developer in Berlin explains a database bug. Another developer in Chicago posts a snippet of Java code that fixes it. Someone in Bangalore adds a comment explaining why the first solution sometimes fails. Over 15 years, millions of these exchanges accumulated into one of the largest technical knowledge libraries ever created. By 2025, the same programmer might sit at the same desk, but instead of opening a forum page, the programmer opens an AI assistant. The programmer pastes the error message into a chat window. Within seconds, a block of corrected code appears on the screen. The programmer copies the solution into the editor and presses run. The program works, and the error disappears. The programmer moves on. The explanation that once would have been posted to a public forum never enters the shared record. To understand why this matters, picture the internet as a giant workshop filled with tools, whiteboards, and instruction manuals. Engineers wrote blog posts explaining how they repaired a server failure. Journalists typed articles into newsroom computers describing discoveries and new technologies. Researchers at Oxford University uploaded papers describing experiments and results. Each paragraph written on a keyboard became another fragment of knowledge that anyone else could discover later. Please subscribe. Artificial intelligence systems learned from that enormous collection of human writing. Inside data centers filled with rows of humming processors, engineers feed models enormous libraries of text gathered from websites, books, code repositories, and scientific papers. The models read sentence after sentence and learned to predict which word should appear next. After billions of repetitions, the systems become capable of writing paragraphs, explaining concepts, and answering questions with surprising fluency. The quality of those answers depends heavily on the material used during training. When the systems learn from millions of real explanations written by people solving real problems, they capture the variety and creativity of human thinking. A programmer describing a strange bug, a scientist explaining a failed experiment, or a mechanic writing about a broken sensor, all of them add different perspectives to the same shared knowledge pool. For decades, the internet produced this material because people had strong incentives to contribute. Developers posted answers on Stack Overflow to earn reputation points visible next to their usernames. Reporters wrote articles because publishers earned advertising revenue when readers visited their websites. Scientists published research to build professional credibility and secure funding for future experiments. The result was an enormous feedback loop where creating knowledge also supported careers and businesses. But when AI systems began answering many of the same questions directly, that feedback loop started to weaken. A student who receives an instant answer from an AI assistant may never visit the original forum where similar questions were once discussed. A developer who receives working code from a chatbot might never write a public explanation describing the solution. The public record of problem-solving slowly becomes thinner. Researchers have begun studying what happens when AI systems start learning from material produced by earlier AI systems rather than from humans. In a 2024 study published in Nature, a team led by Ilya Shumailov at Oxford University tested what happens when new models are trained on synthetic text generated by older models. Across several experiments, the researchers observed a clear pattern. Each generation of models produced text that was slightly more repetitive and slightly less diverse. Another group of researchers at Rice University gave this phenomenon a dramatic name. They called it model autophagy disorder, borrowing a term from biology that describes an organism consuming parts of itself. When a language model generates text, the model tends to produce statistically common phrases rather than rare wording. If later systems train on that output, those systems end up inheriting an even narrower range of language patterns. Over multiple training cycles, the diversity that once came from millions of human writers begins to shrink. A useful way to picture the process is to imagine a photocopier in an office hallway. Someone places a detailed page on the glass and presses the copy button. The first copy looks almost identical to the original page. If the next person places that copy on the glass and presses the button again, a little detail fades. After many generations, the letters blur and faint marks disappear entirely. The machine still functions perfectly, yet the information gradually loses detail. The Internet itself may be entering a similar cycle. Artificial intelligence systems now generate articles, summaries, forum replies, and automated posts across thousands of websites. Future models that scan the web for training material will inevitably absorb some of this synthetic content. As artificial intelligence writing becomes more convincing, identifying which text came from a human author and which text came from an earlier model becomes increasingly difficult. At the same time, the platforms that once produced large volumes of human knowledge are changing. Stack Overflow has begun integrating artificial intelligence tools directly into its programming interface. News organizations experiment with subscription systems and licensing agreements with technology companies. Writers on Substack compose essays in online editors and send them directly to paying subscribers instead of relying entirely on open web traffic. Despite these disruptions, the creation of new knowledge has not stopped. In engineering labs filled with oscilloscopes and prototype hardware, researchers continue testing new designs and documenting results. Programmers still write technical posts describing unusual bugs discovered during late-night debugging sessions. Video creators record tutorials using screen capture software and cameras pointed at circuit boards or laboratory equipment. The Internet may therefore be reorganizing rather than collapsing. Instead of one massive open library filled with forum threads and blog posts, knowledge may spread across smaller communities, research groups, and specialized platforms. A developer might read a technical newsletter, watch a demonstration video, or participate in a private discussion channel where diagrams and screenshots explain how a system actually works. In the end, artificial intelligence still depends on the same source that built the Internet in the first place. Somewhere a person sits in front of a computer screen, notices something unexpected, and begins investigating. The person opens a text editor, writes a description of the problem, and explains the solution in careful detail. Whether that explanation appears on a forum page, inside a research paper, or in a recorded tutorial, the explanation becomes another small piece of human knowledge that future systems will learn from. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe,